From Journey with VRD, you're listening to the Visions, Missions, and Manifestations podcast, the number one place for spirituality, healing, and transcendence. I'm your host, Vivian Raquel Dayan. Now let's get into it. Every single podcast, I introduce my guest. For you specifically, there's no better way to introduce you than by reading an excerpt from your book, Body Positive, The Journey by Sari Dana. And this excerpt really stood out to me. And so I'm going to read it to introduce you. Hi, I'm Sari Dana, and I have a fascination with the body, mind, heart triangle. Understanding it, figuring it out, balancing, rebalancing it, and strengthening it. I am sensitive, thoughtful, and introspective by nature. I am also powerful, strong, brave, beautiful, and smart. I have decided this. I aim to live day to day in a heart-centered place, in a heart-centered space, balancing my life, work, and family while living true to my life's purpose. And when I read that, I love, love. I underlined how you said, I have decided this. It was like a declaration, a choice. And I find it to be extremely powerful when we choose who we are and we believe who we choose to be. I wanted to talk a little bit about, kick this off with talking about the power of deciding. We let so many people decide who we are, what we look like.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that paragraph. You hit the nail on the head with it. That's definitely how I feel. I feel living in our community that we are. I come from Brooklyn, New York. For listeners who don't know where I'm from, I come from the Jewish community, where pressures can be high and things that are called out for us are pretty much laid out for us, kind of from when before we were born. And at some point in my life, I just felt, I don't want to cook. Or I don't want to cook so much. Of course, I do cook. Or just things that were meant for us to do. Like, I want to do more. I want to be more. And at some point, I really felt like it's my job to really find out who I am. Like, no one else can tell that for me. No one else could figure that part out. And I always loved doing things, from a young age. I always knew I wanted to teach and I wanted to get out there and I wanted to be seen, but I didn't know how or what. But I just knew that when I was seen and visible, I actually felt comfortable. That's like my favorite space. I feel good in front of people. I feel good in front of an audience. I feel good sharing my thoughts. But I didn't always feel that. I was always, kind of like shy a little bit. Like, is what I'm saying correct? So when you're saying like to choose, it's something that I try to do every single day. Like, who am I being today? Am I being peaceful, calm, energetic, inspiring, focused, laid back, in front? Like, who am I being today? And I think when you said the word choice, that really set it down like a spiral of, wow, this is like, we could get really deep here.
Being a woman, really, in most cultures, there are some expectations. Maybe that you're going to grow up, get married, be a mom, cook, take care of your children, clean the house. And it leaves an expectation of little space to create and to choose who you are beyond that picture. And so I think one of the holiest things you could do as a person, and something that you're doing every single day, is waking up and consciously choosing, okay, who am I being today? It's setting an intention in a really deep, you're embodying your intention.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think you also hit upon something that sometimes as women in our community, we don't have as much time because we really do have so much to do for our family. But when we have those intentions of, you know what, I could accomplish this today, we find it. If we don't put it in our mindset from the beginning, it just couldn't fly away. But focusing on that one little space that speaks to our own individuality that only we can feel and feel amazing from, I think we can do it. And so to speak, do it all, because
Love
family is everything.
I love that. Okay, so let's set the stage a little bit more for the listener.
Yes,
If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 57,
And how many kids do you have?
5 kids,
Five kids,
12 grandchildren.
57. Oh my goodness. Congratulations. It's huge. And
Thank you.
also, but also on top of all that, you've now chosen who you are. So what is your title? What do you call yourself?
So I'm an author, a body positivity leader, and an empowerment coach.
Okay.
And I just try to fit all those pieces in. And it's a
Okay, but
lot.
that's it's a lot. But what I think is also so cool is having these multi-generational age groups around and seeing how the way we view our body and our relationship with our body, although it may evolve and change, it's always a relationship we're going to have in our lives because we're not our
Absolutely.
body, it's something we have. And we're constantly judging everything we have compared to what everybody else has.
I love how you said all the ages because anytime like I would speak to someone in marketing, it's like pick your age group, pick exactly who you're talking to, and I'm like, no, I love the kids, I love the teens, I love the young adults, I love the women, I even love the boys and the men. Like there's a space for all of this. Like everyone is included in this conversation. We can't exclude anyone. And when I started to go to high schools, I didn't even realize this, but I just showed up as myself, hysterical. Like we started to do affirmations and we started just to get out there and speak boldly and real. And I really connected with the kids. And I think it was because that I didn't try to be someone else. Like I just like, this is me. I don't know everything, but this is the problems that I think we have. How do you think we could solve it? What do you think? I want to hear what they think. I want to hear their thoughts. I want to hear their struggles. And sometimes I don't have the answer. And that's enough. Just to speak about it, just to speak about the pressures. Sometimes that's enough. I love the kids. I love them. If they're listening to this, I want them to know this. I love them.
I'm so happy to hear that. And I love that too. I love that too. It expands our mind so much. Okay, what are some of the biggest pressures when it comes to weight and body image?
It's like I could have a laundry list right here. I think, like you said, at different ages, different things show up. And, I'm going to start at, let's say, the younger generation, maybe like a sixth grader, seventh grader, eighth grader. Like many times they have fears, like, is my body's changing so much? I use the word fat as neutral. We have fat on our bodies. Some people have more, some people have less. It's 100% neutral, but in many families and in our society, that's a demonized word. That's a word that's like, um, that we don't want to say the F word. And I wrote about that in my book. We don't want to say the F word. Like fat is terrible, fat is bad, and sometimes we grow up differently and in different ways and we grow differently. And kids, I want them to know that all bodies are good bodies. You're worthy regardless of your shape and size. And that's not just a slogan, that's real. But I think it comes around full circle in many different ways because now you go into high school. Now you're talking with boys. Now there's pressures possibly to get married as you get older, and a fat body is maybe a more challenging body to live in.
To
And
love, to
I
love.
want to love, but I want to get the message out that when we love our bodies, fully and completely, and sometimes as hard as it may be, we show up more confident, more beautiful, with more ability to self care, more ability to show up shining, use our talents, use our gifts, and remind ourselves that our body is not the most important thing about us. And at my age, I'm now telling that to myself all over again because now I'm going through a different stage where, my body's really changing. And I'm like, wait, is this my body? Like I'm looking at it like it's really different. And where I used to have way more muscle tone, I was always in the gym, lifting lots of pounds, squatting with 150 pounds on my back. And that's just not me today. Really not me today. I don't have that desire as much. And even forget about weight training. My body's changing. There's no way I could ever look like a 22-year-old. It's just not happening. So This conversation is ever evolving, and regardless who I'm speaking to, we have to remind ourselves that our body is not defined by our weight, shape, and size. It's a new definition of beauty that needs to come from within. And the more we could remind this to ourselves, the more we could say it to ourselves, wake up to this new dialogue, I think the more we can show up as our full selves and teach the men in our lives what a real woman looks like. You know, a real woman looks real. We're not photoshopped. And it makes me cry because, you know, the images that we see, all of us, you know, it's really, really toxic. It's toxic. You know, I have a vision in my mind, you know, driving, and I see you know, a bus go by in Manhattan with this, you know, laid out beautiful image, you know, of a woman photoshopped in so many ways, airbrushed in so many ways. And it's hard not to take a double look and say, wow, gorgeous, when it's not even real. So we're measuring up ourselves against images that are not even real. So, you know, it's something that we have to just constantly consider and re-talk to ourselves, because breaking the cycle is so important. We have to break that cycle. We have to have our kids grow up from a new generation that, you know, all bodies are good bodies. We're all deserving of love, and immense love from ourselves and from everybody else. So that's what my heart is feeling.
I love, love, love like your whole mission and changing the narrative around beauty, what's lovable, healthy. You know, a lot of times we ask, do I look fat? Not, do I feel healthy? Do I feel fat?
Right.
Coming from a manifestation perspective, everything is relationship. We manifest based off our relationship with the thing that we're calling it, with the thing we want, and how that looks in our lives, how it shows up for us mirrors our belief towards that thing. And so, at the very core of manifesting, in order to manifest anything, you have to believe you're worthy and deserving of the thing. And if we don't have a healthy relationship with our image, with the vessel that's taking us through life, then the things that we're calling in are going to reflect that relationship. How have, maybe both for you and clients and people you speak to, how does weight, not feeling good in your body, block and stop people from just showing up and going after the things they want in life?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think we could separate weight, like the actual numbers, and how we're feeling.
Hmm.
So we're very attached to numbers. So I try to have my clients and my people move towards how they're feeling. And very often, those numbers, which seem so scary because maybe someone might have said, oh, that's how much you should weigh, to how somebody's feeling. Like, you know what? I'm feeling actually pretty okay. My blood work is good. I'm sleeping good. Um, I feel energetic. You know, that is really what health is. So we want to just like take away the numbers. And once we take away those numbers, and then I think I'll swing back to where you're going with manifesting. I think once we take away the numbers and we could really tap in to our body, and I'm like, how am I feeling? And if the answer is I'm not feeling so good, I feel sluggish, I feel tired. Like, what else is going on in our life? We've been focusing so much on food, which is a good focus because what we eat is, you know, very important for everything. But we often dismiss stress. How much sleep are we getting? Are we on too much screen time? What's our relationships like? What are our friends like? Are we getting out enough? Are we staying home enough? Like every day is different. And if we could go into the other areas of health a little bit deeper, I think we could feel better in our bodies where it's not so correlated to weight. So once we establish that, you know what, I'm feeling really good in my body, and we're ready to manifest the life of our dreams that we deserve everything. I love having people imagine themselves smiling, imagine themselves with a bounce in their step, imagine themselves feeling really good and, you know, smiling at people. And this helps bring a healthy mindset into the body, as well as, yes, the reality will come as it attracts each other, but it helps feel good as opposed to like, I'm so sluggish. I can't. I don't know. I don't want. I can't get out of bed. But bring in the mindset of the positivity of your best self in your mind and see what happens. And that's something that I think is important as a part of a healthy routine to
Sure.
step in.
Yeah. I'm just imagining now how not feeling good in your body could really stop and block you from so much happiness. Like being in a picture with your friends, feeling you're worthy of even being called on in class, or even like having certain friends. Oh, I can never be friends with that person because I'm too ugly or I'm too heavy, or it's not necessarily
Mm,
the number maybe per se, but more like the image of what you have in your mind, which is your own judgment, your relationship to what you look like
mm-hmm,
compared to somebody else.
mm-hmm,
It was
mm-hmm.
funny. Like maybe 2 hours ago, I posted on my Instagram of me hugging a tree. And I was like, "Ooh, I look a little heavy. I wish you knew how to edit." And then I was like, "What is that narrative? What is that? What is that talk?" And I posted it anyway. Like, let me not even give
Yay.
those thoughts a voice. And I like to say, whenever any of my clients have anxiety or thoughts that like don't feel so right, I always say, give it a name. Give those thoughts that voice a name, write it down, and then choose whether or not you want to believe it. And that's very much coming back to the core of this conversation of choosing who you are.
I
Have you had,
love it.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes. It comes up. Of course, it comes up. I was also, here we go with posting. It's funny how, this is it's important to people. Everyone's posting and putting their stuff out there, but I was teaching a class and I guess the way the camera was, my belly looked really protruding. And I know that like if the camera was angled differently, my belly might have looked different. But the way it was angled, the way I was bending was really protruding. And that same exact thought came to my mind. I'm like, And I'm like, nope, post it anyway, put it out there. This is all good. And I think this is good because I think we're beginning to realize that those thoughts are not working. Those negative thoughts are not working. The perfectionist thoughts, like put ourselves out there in the
mhm,
body that we have. But it comes up, like a bunch of friends hugging and like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I look so wide. But who made wide bad? That also bothers me. Like who made that definition
right.
of a body type? That bothers me so much because over the ages, we see that different bodies were considered beautiful, wider, different sizes. Marilyn Monroe, we always go back to that because she was like, the icon. We're not really seeing those sizes in magazines. We're not seeing those as the Hollywood, the picture of, that she's the lead, getting the guy, getting, that whole lead part. We're not seeing that. And I'd like to see that. I really, really would. I'd like to see different, I think it's important that we begin seeing different body sizes. I think it's starting a little bit. We're seeing different size models. I don't like that they're called plus size models because they're models. Why should they be plus size or minus size? Like they're models. I'd like to see more diversity in what's being shown. I really, really would. I think people need to see themselves and, not just one body type.
Hey there, it's Vivian, and I'm briefly interrupting this episode because I'm so excited to share that if this episode is lighting you up, then pack your bags because we're going to Sedona, Arizona in February. Think your manifestation lily pad surrounded by red rocks to jump into your most magnetic era yet. My last client manifested her dream job on our last retreat with me, making 5 times the amount of money she was making in her last job. Plus, she's fully remote. The cherry on top is that she also manifested a more aligned friend group that supports and celebrates her, friends who she can truly be herself around without worrying about being judged. I only have a few spots left, so send me a direct message on Instagram today saying Sedona so I could share all the details with you. If you are the self-proclaimed manifestation expert of your friend group, waiting for the invitation to your next level, or are ready to finally live the life you can't stop hurting on Instagram, then be sure to check the show notes to learn how to apply. Plus, as an extra bonus for our listeners, when you apply to the retreat, make sure you mention this podcast episode to get a free in-person private manifestation coaching session with me while we're in Sedona. Oh my freaking goodness. I am so excited. And I'll meet you in our DMs. And for now, let's get back to the episode. So, what are three of the biggest stories or false narratives that people will come to you saying about themselves that you're just like, oh, if only you saw yourself from my eye? What are like people's three biggest complaints about themselves that they come to you saying?
If I'm not dieting, then what? If I'm not dieting, I will surely, gain weight and I'm too scared. That's a big one. And then it goes on the other end, binge eating. How do I stop the emotional eating? How do I stop the emotional roller coaster? How do I stop binge eating? And then there's a third one that maybe has more to do with maybe looks, with, like I need to look good. I need to look way more than good. I need to fit into my clothing size. I need to fit in a smaller clothing size. I need to be as small as I possibly can. So I think a little bit about the eating and about size. I think those are the things. But I did have, and this is coming up a lot about skin. And that's a big thing today, and how younger and younger are like tapping into like the Sephora market. 9-year-olds are now shopping in Sephora, and like, in one way it's like cute, okay, skincare, but in another way, like, do we have to put 9-year-olds in front of the mirror? Can they go out playing sports? Do they need to be we have enough mirror time as an adult. We have enough mirror time. Like, let them live, let them be kids. So, I'm feeling like that's another important thing. And moms don't know what to do, because in a way the kids want it, well, their friends have it, and I get it. And it's marketed and it's so cute and it's all these fun colors and stuff. I'd rather them have a ball or being gymnastics or ballet or something like that.
One thing I love about you is that you're not, or you don't market or call yourself a nutritionist, but it's more like a body positivity coach. And I really feel like it's even much bigger
Yeah.
than that. It's like a image coach. We come to social media now and this whole new age with the younger generation being in front of mirrors, but also screens more. And even how you and I see our reflection as we're recording this, there's this natural tendency to compare. So what do you tell parents? When
Oh
they're
my
like,
God. It's a tough one. We need to start, really takes a lot of conscious effort. I think we need to do it. One way, we have to really be careful on compliments. And I do this myself. I tell my kids all the time, oh my God, you're stunning, you're gorgeous. I do it myself. So I really don't want to point fingers. But at the same time, we really need to be very conscious that every time we say you're beautiful, we have to really make sure we're adding, you're smart. I love the way you put your outfit together. I love the colors you chose. Wow, did you really make that? Oh, I love what you did today. Like, let's start building self-esteem and self-confidence separated from how we look. Yeah, we all want to look good. I want to look too. It's important. It's important living in this world. But I think we have to make a real strong effort to put less value on looks. Like, not every day that we have a free day, let's go shopping. Like, is that the most important thing? We all love products. I do, for sure. But like, let's go horseback riding. Let's go for a run. Let's go on a bike. Like, let's just try to do different things that doesn't have to do with how we look. And it's going to take a conscious effort from all of us, from everyone, until we kind of get through this. So that's one thing. Another thing I'm 100% going to say, and I know that it's hard, but screen time. It is really important when the influencers come on, and really they're larger than life today. They're really, really big. They have everything. Filters are so easy to swipe this way, swipe that way. It's so easy to create that perfect image and that perfect look. And we have to really, really be careful on how much screen time we're having. Who are we following? please put, if your kids are following, take a look at who they're following and add in some body positivity influencers, add in some real people. And that's what happened to me. I started to notice, oh my goodness, who am I following? And I started to see, and I started to follow um, body diverse people. And if they were telling me what to eat exactly or how to work out exactly, and giving me rules on how to make my body a certain way, I literally deleted them. And
Mm.
now my feed is just much more positive. And in all honesty, I'm hardly on social media. Like I check in a couple of minutes and I'm off. I just feel like there's more to life. So the kids these days, and kids, if you're listening, try and do this really. Just try to give yourself a limit. And I remember last year I was in one of the high schools, and some of the girls already are. They're already feeling it. Like one girl told us that she only watches social media on her laptop, not on her phone. So
Mm.
that already, takes away 3/4 of the time. So she has to be home and she's by her laptop, and maybe it's some of her, scrolling time, but it's not 24/7. So I think all of this just is a huge role in what's going on, and be media literate. Very important. Media literacy is huge. Advertising, I go crazy. I go crazy. Like for instance, I get the New York Post. And on Saturdays, and I might even have one here, I'm not even sure because I always save them because they drive me so crazy. I have to write them a letter. In the midst of news about the election, about October 7th, about Israel, about every world topic that we have, you open up the page to a full size woman in, scarcely dressed, surgically enhanced, and without any, I'm and again, this is not a target to anyone who has any plastic surgery or anything like that. This is just as what we are seeing as important. It's not a regular dressed woman on that page. It's someone who, I am here because I look this way, no other reason. There's not even an article attached to it. It might just be, I don't even know what the caption would say, but it's of no importance. And, it's something we have to just be conscious of, that anytime something is being sold, whether it's a newspaper, whether it's furniture, whether it's beer, whether it's shoes, whether it's pocketbooks, it's a woman's body that is being used to sell that product. And all this takes a toll on us. And even if we know it, oh, I know media, it's all fake. Of course, at this point we know it. But every time we see it, it just gives like a pinch in us that knocks us down.
I want to highlight the importance of just because you know something doesn't mean you believe it. You can know that starving yourself isn't healthy, but you could still do it. You know what I
Mm,
mean? You could believe that it's possible for you to go out there and change the world and also not do it, right? And also
mm.
not take any action towards that belief.
A
It's
100%, 100%. You can know it, but it until that belief sets in. And even when we believe it, um, how strong is that belief system? Like I believe it, but okay. Like, so every time we see something, it's really, it gets into our psyche, it gets into our subconsciousness, it gets in there, and it
it's like
hurts.
it hurts. And it's like even the simple question of like, do you know that you're loved? You could be like, yeah, I know I'm loved, but like, do you really believe that you're loved? And it
Mm,
just changes the whole question and the whole way you see the relationship between yourself and love and being lovable and beautiful and
mm,
worthy. And I think a lot of people intertwine being lovable with how they look and how they're
mm.
seen and how they're judged. And I think
Thousand percent.
this isn't even just for little kids. It's also adults. It's anybody.
Oh, all of us, everyone. And it comes and goes in waves. And the stronger we could be centered and focused on our positive qualities, on our confidence levels. Every time, like we noticed how we both shared, how we noticed that picture, but like we changed it quickly. Those are good things, just being aware. And I just wanted the listeners to know this, that I came from a harsh reality of dieting 24/7, of over exercising to the point that was not healthy. I was still am a fitness instructor, but my identity felt like it was really tied to how I looked. And if I was going in front of all those women and girls, I needed to look my best and my strongest. And it was a lot of pressure. And every time that I jumped from different diet strategies, it was not healthy for my relationship with my husband. It was not. I didn't want to travel. I didn't want to be away from my kitchen. I would go, I would travel, but it was like, oh no, like, how am I going to manage this? What can I pre-cook, pre-make, pre-measure to make sure everything is going to be, just that? How am I going to make it that I'm not going to gain weight after this vacation? How can I wake up extra early to exercise, which means I have to sleep extra early? So vacation wasn't really vacation, but I didn't know it. That's the funny part. I thought that was healthy. I thought that was necessary. That's what was taught to me from my beauty teachers, whether it was being my fitness coaches, um, you know, constantly trying to learn from other people in the fitness and health space. I felt that was necessary and right. My writing down everything I ate on my food app, it was just so stuck and I didn't realize it. So like, what I would love, like, for people to, like, it's hard because you don't know it until you know it, but like, to take an assessment. Are these rules of beauty, of food, of fitness holding you back? Is it holding you back from showing up? And I know it, I didn't realize it. And I think that anyone who knew me would say, no, that wasn't holding you back. You were in front of 100 girls teaching. How could that have held you back? I don't believe it. But it did. It did. It's much easier to be able to say, you know what, today, I'm just going to go out without makeup and I could feel good about myself. Not that I don't love makeup. I have whole drawer of makeup and I love it and I think it's beautiful and I wear it, but I could also not wear it and be okay with that too. So I don't know. I just think I have a healthier balance with my food, exercise, and beauty.
In relationship
So
to self.
yeah, yeah,
So let's
yeah,
crack open this journey. When did you
yeah.
become, and how did you become? When, how, all the things. Share, how did you become a body empowerment coach?
By accident, really. Um, I mean, yeah, definitely by accident for sure. But really more, okay, obviously by purpose, but I got to where I was just through my journey as a health professional and literally teaching people how to diet and seeing, okay, at some point in my journey, I started to learn about my inner self.
Mm.
And that was like a brand new concept. I started to learn about my thoughts, about affirmations. And are you familiar with the class I teach in Tinsati?
Of course, I follow your
So,
Instagram.
okay. So that was really with my mentor, Patricia Moreno, who had now passed away a couple of years back. And I saw her in a conference one day, and she was like doing these like wild affirmations and movement at the same time. And I'm like, this is so wild. This is so weird. This is crazy, but I'm loving it. I need to find out more. And I just like followed her, went to her certifications, um, just felt like uncomfortable, like words like I am enough, um, I'm good enough. Those words were hard. And over time, I just learned to replace my thoughts with more empowering ones. I learned to be okay with stillness and quiet. I learned to, use my mind to visualize my dreams and goals, learned about journaling. And all of that brought me to, like, why am I dieting? Why am I
Mm.
suffering? Why am I over exercising? Why am I not eating what I want? Why do I care so much? Why do I care what other people think of me? Why is it so important how I look so I could give someone else, thinking that they're going to judge me positively because I'm that size? Like I just started feeling like this is not right. This is just not right. What's going on here? And I started to notice that my inner self was way more powerful than my outer self, way more powerful. And I could do way more things. Like we talk about beauty privilege, let's talk about self empowerment privilege. That's really
Mm-hmm.
powerful. We can do a lot with that. We can say a lot with that. We can change the world with that. And it's not fleeting where beauty standards comes and goes, and one day we look this way, one day we look that way. But the inner self can really be as strong and as powerful as we allow it to be, and we become limitless. And that's where I wanted to step into. And one day, as you read in my book, because it was so powerful, I just decided I'm going to eat what I want. And I'm like, wow, I've never done that before. I've always eaten what I should be eating or how much I'm supposed to eat. And I just stood in front of the refrigerator like, this is brand new. I don't know what to do. I just didn't know. It was like the oddest thing. And that was from years of dieting, from 14 years old, going to Weight Watchers, which is considered healthy. Like, people call it the healthy type of diet, but it's really not. If someone is telling you how many points to eat and exactly what and when, and and not allowing you the freedom to eat when you're hungry and listen to your own fullness, not to leave the table hungry. They taught us leave hungry, you shouldn't be too full, you shouldn't be full, but I want to be full. And then I started to say, wow, there's like a society out there, there's a culture out there that is really damaging me and other girls and women. It's like we have this belief that we have to look a certain way or else. And to look that certain way, not easy, not easy. And I just think that we could do better, but we have to be aware of what's happening. I never know what type of stories to share, but you know, someone feels that their ribs are too wide. Kim Kardashian is it's rumored that she took out her ribs, or if someone has, um, not as narrow. Like, just it's a tough world, and I think we could do better. you know.
And I also see, dieting because we want to look good or we want to be perceived a certain way. It's giving your power away. It's literally saying, I'm doing this for you, for other people, so
Mm,
that I can be accepted. And when you do that, you
yes.
literally shut down all your power. You shut down your relationship to your body because your body is constantly communicating with you. And what happens when you shut down your body is you break the connection between you and your nervous system. So regulating yourself naturally is thrown off. It's not a possibility. And so you feel things that we call anxiety and fear and judgment and all of these things, all because you're doing something for somebody else. You're making yourself so small so somebody else could feel big, so that somebody else could
Mm.
be like, I have power over you, whether that be a friend group or a man or whatever, a boss.
Even
And it's so
friends to
damaging.
friends, girlfriends. Girlfriends to girlfriends. Sometimes, like, we just want to look good for our girlfriend. It's not even anybody else. We just feel like, oh, we need to fit it in. We need to fit in. And I have some of those stories in the book which talk about. I remember there was one girl. It was such a beautiful story how she worked so hard to fit into the popular friend group who she felt if she looked a certain way, she would fit in. She was
Mm.
like in ninth or 10th grade, and it was her journey. She ended up having anorexia from trying to be so thin, and it was not fun. She got out of it, but that's where it stemmed from trying to fit in. So we didn't even talk about eating disorders. That's like a whole another thing within the same thing, eating disorders, and then the norm of disordered eating and how it gets passed down from generation to generation, which is another big thing. Like, a mom learns it from wherever and that gets passed down. I'm just going to use mom and daughters for for the sake, but obviously boys and men too, 100%. But I'm just going to say, mom to daughter, to her daughter, and it keeps on going. Like even the comments like, oh, you're eating all that? Like, wow, you didn't stop eating today. Like we put in shame, like, but I'm hungry, or like, I want it. And, we have to really be careful with our language. So our children can learn to have permission to eat, because they really know how to stop eating when they're full. And it's us who take that away from them, from having these type of comments or judgments. But babies are born as intuitive eaters. They're born loving their bodies. They're born dancing in the mirror. They're born loving to remove their clothing. They love that sort of stuff. And then over time, they become, insecure about their bodies. Like, even saying I'm bloated at a very young age. That's such a common thing. Oh, I feel so bloated today. Now their kids say that. And, we need to like just really be extra careful until this passes. God willing, it will pass. I do have high hopes, because there's a lot of body positivity leaders today. This was never a thing before. So I do think it'll pass, but we have to be really, really careful on how we talk. And if you're not sure, better say nothing.
There's no age that's too late to change the narrative. And when we do any type of healing work, we're not only doing it for ourselves, but we're doing it for future generations and past generations. We're really, really, really inspiring and healing. And it's funny, we can change our DNA. We often say like, oh, but it's in my DNA, like mind over matter in a sense. Like when we switch the narrative, and we do it consciously by being conscious. What words am I speaking to myself? Because your body listens. Your body will change and morph the way you water it with the words you're using. In the same way, your DNA can actually change based off the words and how you're feeling. And it isn't something that's so natural to us to change the way we say things, but just noticing when we do say certain stuff to ourselves and then shifting it it's life changing. One thing I tell all
It's
my
life changing.
yeah, one thing I tell all my clients to do, one of the first things we always do is, what are 20 old beliefs, 20 expired beliefs? So what is just not working for you anymore? Narratives that you're telling yourself that's looping in your mind, habits, and then now choose 20 new beliefs. And those 20 new beliefs might not feel natural at first, but the more you start embodying those new beliefs, the more you merge with them, and the more you'll start seeing them in your outer reality. It all starts with the inner narrative.
100%. It's so important. I feel uncomfortable. Like, what do you mean I am beautiful? Just those words. I remember years back, and I started to use those words. I am beautiful. And that was like a word that no one really said before. Like, I am beautiful. Like now we're hearing it a little bit, we're seeing that. And, it was kind of like thought like, are you being boasty? Like, are you, saying things and like, feeling like boasty? Is
Like
that
you
the
have
right
an
word
ego.
for this? Yeah, like an ego. But you know what? Saying that and believing it, that I am beautiful, all of a sudden we begin to see our beauty.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have so much beauty all over us. And I would also tell my clients, like, even pick the smallest thing, like, oh, I like my color of my eyes, and feel the beauty of that. Let it resonate, let it grow. Start with the smallest thing possible and begin to see the beauty surrounding yourself. And even if like a secondary thought comes in that's like conflicting, continue on that beauty path. Say, okay, I could have that conflicting thought, but I'm going to put it on the side for a minute. It'll be there when I get back. I'm right now in the beauty thought, and just allow that to grow. So I think that what we're both doing is like giving people the space to re-put in thoughts that work, that help us live a better life. And it's important. It's important to do anything better. Anything.
To take our power back and to choose who we are. And we touched on this a little
Absolutely.
bit Yeah, we touch on this a little bit, and I want to just share with everybody, what is your big vision and mission?
Oh my goodness. So I feel like I have so much. So personal, like my personal, or for
I want to hear both.
both. Oh my goodness, I have so much going on.
I want to know.
So right now in March, I launched my program. And that was really, really big. So what that is, it's an online program where people could come in and I could give them a session speaking just like this and have all different spaces for them to use affirmations and meditations and stuff like that. And I'm not there yet, but I want to have like, I want this for every age to come in. So right now I have it as one, but working on separating that so I could have kids, I could have high schoolers, I could have moms. I didn't get to the guys and men yet, but hold on there, I'll get there. So this is all happening like as I speak, like this is happening right now. But my mission is that this is learnable. Confidence is learnable. Loving your body is teachable and learnable. Intuitive eating is teachable and learnable. If we learn to dislike our bodies, we could learn to like our bodies. If we learned, how to diet, we could learn how to undiet. Will it take effort? Is it a journey? And that's why, hence the title of my book, Body Positive, The Journey. Yes, it's a journey. We can't just snap our fingers and get to where we need to be. We need to, yes, put in the effort. But for me, it's so important to teach this that I just can't keep quiet. I just can't not do this. Like if I learned it, I feel like other people could learn it too. I know other people could learn it too. So I have this mission to just I just want to change the world. I mean, if I pie in the sky, this is where you could come in. Pie in the sky. I want every ad to have a little note at the bottom and say this image was photoshopped. I wanted to say that on every magazine ad, on every big screen movie, you know, all the filtering that goes on live. All it takes is a quick, press of the buttons and everything can be changed. Everything. So I feel like that should be saying noted. If the models on this screen have been digitally altered, people need to know that. That's like my pie in the sky. Will that happen? Maybe. Maybe if I believe in it enough.
Well, to give you some hope, I know Instagram, I use the it filter, and when I post, it will automatically tell whoever views it that I did use it. And so, it gives you some hope
Perfect.
that Instagram shares when somebody's using a filter and shares the filter. You know that you're doing your purpose when you have that feeling of like, oh, wait, this happened by accident, or like, it was my journey. And it's really so beautiful to see you live out your journey, your purpose when, coming out here every single day, showing up on your Instagram, showing your face, showing your body, and like breaking this old template that's going around like, oh, that I need to be skinny and I need a diet in order to be loved and all this whole thing. It could be challenging. You could do a lot of judgment, like, are people gonna think I'm weird? Or like, people are gonna think I'm cringe and all the different things. Or like, maybe edit, like you said, don't look good in this video. But that's like kind of the point. You want people to kind of question, like, what is she doing? Oh, she's being authentic, she's being true, and she's showing you how much fun it could be if I were to do that too. So it really is inspirational.
Oh, thank you so much. It means so much to me. That's one of the things I try to be is just be myself. If I have to take too many takes like on a video, it's like, nope, not today. If it's not
Mm.
one or two, pass, pass. It's like too much effort, and that's not what I want. I need it to be real. I need it to be press the button while I'm teaching a class. Just like make it happen on a authentic level. I think we do need more of that. I guess like I also try to think like, but am I getting my message out? I question. I want to make sure that I'm speaking as much as I can. Sometimes I honestly shy away, and I'll tell you why and when. Sometimes the conversation is so much like there needs education around it. So sometimes just to come on, 30 seconds, accept your body today. What do you mean accept my body today? How can I? Da, da, da. There's so many questions. So it takes deeper. So I try to do my best and, remind myself that my best is good enough. And the most important thing is showing up.
Hmm.
Just show up. Whatever capacity I have that day, just show up. I try to do that.
Do you want to share a personal mission or vision that, or even something you manifested recently or are manifesting?
So I am manifesting, my program really launching in a big
Mm.
way that people will say, wow, I'm just going to come to Sari,
Just
she's
gonna
going
come
to
to
help me
say.
get a balance in my step and feel good about my body, even teach me about health and nutrition in a way that's intuitive and not restrictive. I hope it's a space that people can be vulnerable and share. I think that's so important. I really want to see that taking off. I do have some more books in my mind. I kind of started on one, but I put it on hold for a minute because I know once I declare like I am writing a book, I know it's going to be my everyday effort, and I'm
Yeah.
not ready for that. I know the way I work. Once I declare it, I am doing it. And, I just put it on hold. And, maybe when I feel a little inspired, I'll write a page or two, but it's not there yet. Like with Body Positive, it was declared. I was writing this book no matter what. It was my everyday effort. Um, I hope that I could lead even stronger, more powerful. I hope I could say the things that make people question. I hope I could be more vulnerable even. I hope to be, again, maybe even like, grow my lives, which I haven't done in a while. That's really vulnerable, but I hope to do that again. Yeah, I just hope to keep on doing the space while having the best time with my family, my grandkids, love of my lives.
Mm.
This summer we were in the pool and just really all enjoying. If my family listens to this, they'll remember those special moments. How do I do it all? I really focus on the weekend is my family time. I do really hardly ever pick up a phone or answer a text on those days. Even my friends know if they want to go out for dinner, they have to text my husband because I'm not on my phone.
I
Just like
love
I'm
that.
very focused on family time during those days. And then Monday morning, psych, I get right
You're
back and
good.
I feel like the balance really works. And I just love everyone. I want everyone to know how much I love you. And real love, real love. And there's a culture out there that's very, very harsh. And I think we could show up, and that's our stepping up and saying, this is who we are and we're lovable, precious, worthy, all of it.
That was so well said. But rapid fire, if you were to go out for dinner with anybody, dead, alive, fictional, or real, who would it be and what would you guys be eating?
That's a great one. Okay, rapid fire. Let's go. I have to say my husband.
I love that. I
I really
love that.
do. I
Oh my
really
gosh.
do. I really, really do. I have to say my husband. He is absolutely the love of my life.
Wait, that's so special.
Yeah. And what
I
would
love that.
and I definitely think we'd be eating in Italy. We would definitely be having some fresh fish off the grill, and our feet will be in the sand, and our fingers will be touching.
I love that. I love that. Okay. If you were to have a sixth sense or spiritual superpower, what would it be and how does it help you in your everyday life?
I think my sixth sense is feeling other people's vulnerability and a need for a hug.
Mm.
I do. I do. And I find that when I feel it and we hug, everything just, melts and we go from there. Human connection is very, very strong.
I love that. What are three truths about beauty?
Beauty is definitely in our own eyes. If we take that power back, beauty is definitely defined by our own selves. If we take that back, and beauty shines when we are our authentic selves.
Ooh, I love those. Very powerful. What's your favorite affirmation right now?
I am powerful.
Ooh, strong one. And how can people find you on social media and buy your book?
Definitely. So Zen Sari is my social media account, Zensari. I'd love for you to DM me and say hello for whoever's listening. My book can be bought on Amazon, though I take if possible, to go on my website, zensari.com, because I just think it has a nice experience. You'll see pictures of high schoolers and kids and people and families all doing affirmation. So I love my website. So Body Positive, and it is now in a bookstore in Pure Village. And my goal this year is to get it out to more bookstores. And I hope everyone would pick up a copy of Body Positive, The Journey, because it's a
Ooh,
beautiful book.
I love that. And I have to ask one last question. If this episode were to reach one type of person, who would that be?
I'm going to say a 12th grader.
12th grader.
I wanted to reach a 12th grader. She's about to step out of the walls of high school, out of the support system, into the vast world. And I want her to remember herself before the world takes over.
Claim who she
I
is.
want to be her companion. I want to be her companion. I want to be with her.
I love that. I love that. Thank you, Sari. Thank you so much for coming on here and having this really important discussion with me. Hey, if you like this podcast episode, please download it, give us a nice review, and follow us on Instagram at Journey with VRD to get all the latest and the greatest updates. Till next week.